Hits by the pound.
Yeah, this is how we do it in the Central Colors, man. We got 40 ounces, Old English, rag tops, 6'4" Impalas, and bikini girls, man. This is how we do it on the West Coast. San Diego, San Francisco, Los Angeles. But don't forget about the Central Cali, man. Please don't forget about the Central Cali. Yeah, get 'em.
It's another sunny day in the state of California. Low rider palm trees and G's that put it on ya. This ain't a negative, we speaking ebonics. Rank talk, candy paint on D's with hydraulics. Baseball hat with the sticker on the brim. Don't let the sun blind your sight, cause things can get grim. But I'm not here to talk about banana clips and guns. We're going back to Cali and we're gonna have some fun. A West Coast domination.
And welcome back to Two-Face Entertainment Podcast. I am your host, Fred Segura, out here in Monterey County, also known to the world as the Salad Bowl, also known as the Salinas Valley. To the people in LA, we are north. To the people in San Francisco, we are south. Right smack in the middle, best of both worlds. Don't forget about the Central Cali. Anyway, folks, today we're going to talk about a situation I had years ago with my mother. God rest her soul. She has passed, right? But this was a situation one time when we were in the hospital. Well, she was in the hospital. And this is not during the time that she passed, right? This is before. So she was in there for something. I forgot what it was. There was nothing too serious. But it was a situation that happened was, I'm sorry, guys. You guys will understand why I kind of chuckle a little bit. So we're in there. They let me stay with her. So I stayed the night there with her, like, you know, just that's my mom, man. You know, I'm taking care of her, making sure that everything's okay. They connect her up to all these, you know, monitors and stuff like that. And before we move on with that, guys, I don't want anybody to feel this is a mockery towards anybody going through any hardship or in the hospital or stuff like that. This is just happens to be a situation that happened to myself and my mother. It's in no way trying to, you know, make fun of a real situation in a sense, right? So anyhow, so we're there, and you know, they have her hooked up to the heart monitors and stuff like that, right? So so I said, hey man, like, you know, they said, well, she has an irregular heartbeat, you know, it's beating a little bit you know, low. You know, I was like, what the, you know, what's going on, you know? So they started running all these tests and all this other stuff, right? So, and I'm talking to her like, hey, you know, and she's like, what? Like, I'm fine, right? And I'm like, well, no, you know, you're not, you know, the monitor's showing all this stuff, right? The nurse tells me, you know what, if you see the heartbeat go down to like 50, then you need to be concerned. But other than that, it'd be okay. You know, I think she's okay. She's just due to the circumstance or maybe the medication or whatever, right? So we're in there, and just having the stress of that is like Jesus Christ. You know, you're going in here, you're like, wow. It's overwhelming. Very stressful, if that's an understatement, in the sense of having to deal with that emotionally, physically, mentally. Everything is attacking you at the same time, yet you're trying to, you know, by all means trying to prevent anything from happening that we can't control in a sense. But if we can stop it, I'm doing that. So I'm going through a whole bunch of stuff at this moment in time, right? With her, and I'm like, okay, you know, so mind you, it was already at night. So I mean, I'm deadbeat tired, but I can't fall asleep because of the situation at hand, right? So I'm more stressed out, so I can't really even, you know, close my eyes or nothing. I'm like watching the monitor the whole time. At one point, though, the heart monitor went down to, it was at 80, and then it went down to like 50, and I'm like, hey, you know, and I went and called the nurse right away. Instead of pressing a little button on her bed, I got up, I ran over to the nurse. I said, hey, you know, it went down to 50. So the nurse comes in and she goes, oh, you know, how you feeling? No, she's fine. And it had gone back up to 80, and we're like, what the heck? Like, she goes, okay, well, you know what? We're watching it from over there, Fred. Like, in other words, don't stress, Fred. We're watching it from over there. We're making sure. And I'm like, see, in my mind, the way it played in my mind, though, was like, hey, well, if you're watching it from over there, why didn't you come in here? You know what I mean? Or is there anything you can do? You know, I'm not that kind of guy that's going to throw it. I mean, I understand. I'm not going to throw it in like, hey, man, like, hey, you know, you need to start doing something. Yeah, that's not me. To an extent, you know, I mean, but yeah, not to just blow off the handle like that and go off and start saying a bunch of stuff to them. I understand too that anybody in any employment that's their employment. They're not, you know, they're not there, you know what I mean, for anybody to yell at them and tell them how to do their job. In some cases, I understand, but anyhow, not in this case. So mind you, I mean, hours are rolling by. I'm seeing the you know, my mom, you know, she falls asleep, and I'm like, I'm watching her the whole time. I'm just looking at her like, okay, man, I'm watching the heart monitor. And you'll understand why I'm laughing, guys. So it goes down to like 10. And then it goes down to like 6. And I'm like, what the heck? So I'm like, hey, you know, I grabbed her hand, right? I was like, hey, Mom. And she wakes up. She goes, what? I said, are you okay? She goes, I'm fine. Why, you know, why are you, you know, why did you wake me up, man? Like, I'm trying to sleep, you know, como friegas, you know, she's telling me in Spanish, you know, you're bugging me, you know. And I'm like, well, I'm scared, man. I'm like, oh man, you know. So needless to say, guys, this will be a very short podcast, but I'll get to the point with that. So come the, so I didn't sleep the whole night. You know, I talked to the nurses. We're getting everything ready, whatever. She was going to go. Then we're going to move her down the floor. I forget what it was. They were going to do something. So they were going to move her down the floor in the morning. So I'm like zombied out, man. I'm like so freaking tired, you know, at this point. I'm like, wow, you know, I'm like exhausted, you know. I'm glad she made it through the night. And I'm just still stressed out over this heartbeat that keeps going lower, like she's about to flatline. So they move her. We go downstairs. They hook her up to another monitor. Everything's fine. I think we took the monitor with us at that. I forget what it was. They hooked her up. Everything seemed fine, and the doctor comes in, and I told the doctor, "Hey, listen, man, this is what's going on." You know, I started telling him all this stuff, and he said, "You know what? Okay, I'm gonna look into that. I'm gonna look into that." You know, so again, like we're talking early in the morning, and I'm like, "Oh man, you know, okay." You know, so again, I wait about an hour or so, right? Or hour and a half, whatever it was that I'm waiting there. Here's what happened. The doctor comes in, and he says, "Hey, man, your mom's probably gonna be here for another 2-3 days, just for us to monitor, you know, everything that's going on." So at this point, man, everything starts. I start to kind of, you know, tense up inside, you know, but I'm not showing it to the doctor. I'm like, okay, you know, I'm expecting him to tell me that kind of stuff. So he says, you know, we just want to make sure before she goes home, you know, and we're going to have her prescribed medication and stuff like that, right? I said, okay, cool. Okay. He goes, another thing, he goes, we found out the monitor upstairs, yeah, he says, it's broken. And I'm like, God, dude, that thing, I wanted him to. I was gonna ask him like, "Hey, bro, can you bring it downstairs, or can I go upstairs and break it?" I'm just saying. Yeah, it was something wrong with the monitor. There was nothing wrong with my mom at that time. God rest her soul. She's passed since, right? But yeah, at that moment in time, there was nothing wrong with her. So yeah, she wasn't flatlining. She wasn't about to flatline, and that just happened to be the situation at hand. Those of you who still have your parents or your parent or your loved ones, it's a blessing, man. It's a blessing. And again, guys, like I've said before, I'm only human, guys. We all go through it. There's a moment in time we all still kind of, we have those moments to ourselves. But overall, guys, I look at it as a part of life. I mean, I hate to sound that cliche about it, but it's a part of life, and we have to deal with it. It's not about I didn't turn to drinking, I didn't turn to drugs, I didn't I didn't turn to anything like that. I just took it as it came, and with both of my parents, because I was fortunate to have both. But I mean, it is what it is. It is what it is. It's part of life, and we all mourn different, But not to get into that realm, I'm not gonna go there. But yeah, this situation was funny, yet I really wanted to break and stomp on that monitor. With that, guys, this is Two Faces Entertainment Podcast. I'm your host, Fred Segura, signing out.